and welcome to day 6 of the Wholistic Fast. I am going to stick to some physical principles today. We're going to get a little bit deeper into nutrition. Yesterday was a big day with the gut-spirit connection, the parasite, talking about parasite cleanses and how that affects us not only physically but spiritually. So if you haven't seen that one yet, jump back and look at the videos and do the reading that I've included there. Today we're just going to go into some eating clean, a little bit of eating clean. I'm going to read you a little bit from my book, Holistic Health Made Easy. On day 1 of the fast, I put a free PDF that you can download. Feel free to download it and use it, share it, do whatever you want with it. This is a self-published book and I have all the rights to it. So that's my free gift to you on day 1 of this fast. So today let's look at just a few little points that I make in the book about eating clean. So how the food is grown in relation to chemicals used. Non-GMO, that is not organic, has high usage of toxic chemical in production. So that's something to be aware of. The seed that the food is grown with, if it is a GMO seed, there's going to be a huge toxic herbicides used in the growth of that food. So please avoid the non-GMO food that isn't organic, okay? Of course, avoid GMO food. I mean, that goes without saying. Has the food been growing with seed altered by genetic modification? So that's what you have to look at. How is it processed and transported? How many borders does it come across? If it's coming across a lot of borders, there is irradiation, and I did touch on that in an earlier video. Where is it produced? Some countries have farming methods that are not ethical and have learned legal ways to export around the world. Sometimes the label indicates where it is last packaged, not where it was produced. So China is producing a lot of food. Like China has literally cornered the market on tomatoes, and then they have these agreements. They've literally put Italy out of business in many ways. I know in Canada here, a lot of the tomato growers were completely put out of business by China's production. But you never see on any labels of tomatoes that it's made, that it's grown or produced in China. It will be shipped to wherever, and it's even, places where you would expect tomatoes to be, and then it is it's packaged there. So really look deeply into where the food is being grown. Okay, so there's some of these things that I've already talked about. Avoid fish high in the food chain, such as tuna. Heavy metal accumulation is a great concern in our modern diet. Fish, especially tuna, is high in metal contamination, especially mercury. And also tuna is harvested in a way that is destructive to other ocean life. So that's been talked about for years. So I don't need to go into that any more deeply. Even freshwater fish may have higher levels of metals. I know I spent many years, like 50 years, 50 plus years perhaps, on the shores of Lake Huron. And Lake Huron is such a beautiful lake. I feel I attempt to visit there at least, once a year, once every other year. And that is just the most beautiful lake to me. And it's really a place that I feel at home. But I know that the water is contaminated. There was a time when my children were growing up, I had a little cottage on the lake, and it was on one of the native reserves, one of the Ojibwe reserves there, called Kettle Point. And there was a friend there, and he would go out fishing almost every day in the, the weather, when the weather was good for fishing. And he would, knock on my door with some fresh pickerel or perch or salmon. And that fish was like candy. I cooked it on an outdoor fire, and I had my cast iron pan there, and we enjoyed that day after day when the fish was running. At a certain point, I started to feel, and I think my children were experiencing symptoms as well, but I was very, very aware that I started to get numbing in the it started in my fingers, in my fingertips. I started to get some numbing, and then it started tingling, and there was all these little symptoms that started to arise, but they were getting progressively worse as we were eating this fish. And I realized that we had become contaminated with heavy metals due to the amount that we were consuming. So I had to completely stop for a couple of years. I didn't eat any fish whatsoever, and now I eat fish perhaps twice, maybe 3 times a year. So it's very important. Fish has really been it's just really sad that fish is at that point on planet Earth, but it is. So please be aware of that, and do those heavy metal detox. There's so many good things out there now for heavy metal detox, and I look at that and share some of the things on during this fast, and I think on today as well, on the notes of today's instructions. So that's really important. Fish is like farmed fish. Absolutely do not eat farmed fish. There's high parasitic involvement there as well. So don't think that you can get away from the heavy metals by eating farmed fish. There's even more problems with farmed fish. So just be very, very cautious around fish in general. We've talked a lot about removing grains, but if you haven't already, remove wheat, corn, rice, and soy to start. And if we can remove those from the diet, then we can start cleaning up things. This book, I wasn't on keto when I wrote this book. This book I think I wrote in 2018. So I still recommend in the book quinoa, and some different things. And I don't eat quinoa anymore, or any other grains. Occasionally I will have something, but it's very, very occasional when I'm willing to get kicked out of ketosis, which can be 24 to 48 hours if you have one little thing that isn't on the ketogenic diet. So and we're going to be talking more about ketogenic and intermittent fasting as the fast goes on. But here I do write quinoa, and as a stepping stone. So a lot of people just can't do without grains. So quinoa is a little bit higher in protein and a little bit less in carbohydrates. So that is a good stepping stone to getting off of these grains that I find, especially wheat. If you're going to choose one grain to remove from your diet, remove wheat. Remove canned food. Yeah, I think everybody watching this is really going to be on the nutrition train, and there's nothing here in this simple part here that I'm going to tell you that you haven't already done or don't already know. So there is some interesting things. I do a little bit of on soybeans and why soy is not the greatest. Again, here I'm flipping through, and it's Life is Sweet is the title of this little part of the book. And back then I had gotten off of all sugars, but I was still using maple syrup and raw honey. So I'm saying that that's a good alternative. Now I would say that is not a good alternative, only on, like I said, just a very, very small occasions. So yeah, that's just a couple of things. Master cleanser, we're going to talk about that later in the fast. Green drinks. Well, that's something that I can talk about today because it is on the notes. Green drinks are a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people doing green drinks, and they're adding fruit or sweet vegetables. And most places that I have gone into, health food stores and different juice bars, they are offering green drinks with apple or other things to sweeten it up. And I really avoid that. I do not use any green drinks that has anything sweet in it, particularly fruit. So the reason that is that the fruit digests quicker than anything else. It just turns to sugars, and that makes the whole thing acidic, and it kind of defeats the purpose of a green drink. So keep your smoothies. You can put your berries into your smoothies, and I also talk about that on today's post. So smoothies and green drinks. Keep your fruit away from the green drinks or any other vegetable drinks that you're doing, and keep away from the higher vegetables on the glycemic index, like beet and carrots. Again, it's a treat. I'll sometimes go to a local shop here that has fresh vegetable juice. I juice celery juice every day. That's my juicing. That's my daily morning green drink. I will use a mixture that I've put the recipe on today's post for a green drink that's really heavy duty, that has the the nutrition and some superfoods added to it. So yeah, just keep the fruits away, keep that sweetness out of things. Like I said before, berries are okay in the smoothies, and just because they're a little bit lower on the glycemic index, and it makes it taste great. So that's it for today. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow on day 7. Again, I'm posting this on X. I'm posting it on the Holistic Self-Healing group page on Facebook, and also on my website, wholehealthcenter.com. Thank you for watching.